Hello and welcome to Exhibitionistas, the podcast where we visit exhibitions so that you have to, or so that you visit exhibitions vicariously through us. Today I have an incredible guest with me, someone I've known for a very long time. Actually, I'm ashamed to say that I've known him for 30 years, which dates me and him. He's an artist. He is Portuguese, as I am, and it's none other than my favorite husband, Diogo
Favorite? What do you mean
Pimentel.
favorite? Do you have others? Uh, how many more?
Diogo Pimentel, hello and welcome to Exhibitionistas.
Thanks for inviting me. I can say that it's my first podcast,
Really?
so I'm very proud
Wow.
to initiate it with you.
Okay, I am proud too.
Yeah, thank you. This is nice. Different platform.
Okay, so the reason why you're here is because you produce whatever goes into exhibitions, right? You're an artist, you produce
You can say
the
that.
core, the material, the very thing that makes exhibitions. So without you, there would be no exhibitions. And without people like you, there would be no exhibitions.
Well, justice done to the institutions too. Without them, there wouldn't be a
Without the
place to show.
walls,
Without
that
the
is
wall.
true. That
Yeah.
is true. Have you ever thought about how long exhibitions have existed?
Hmm. Hmm. Not really. Exhibition in the sense of
Do you think that
I would-
in 1850 there were exhibitions of art? Well, there were. There were
1850, yes.
the salon,
Yes.
yeah. How about 17th century?
I would go back to the Greeks, but mostly with the idea of the theater.
Yeah, and Plato's cave. That's the
Yeah.
first exhibition.
Uh,
Like, would it be? Is it the first exhibition or is it the first film, the first idea of cinema that we know of, obviously, or that I can think of?
it was a bit like bringing the light. Without the light, they would we would be in the darkness, right? So no, we would be watching shadows because we were not facing the light, but we were watching our shadows on the wall. The light came from behind. So I think it's almost overcoming cinema if we
Well, it's
think
shadow theater.
the shadows theater, but then you face the light. Yeah, I don't
What do you
know.
mean you face the light?
Because the
Well,
story.
in cinema, the projecting beam is projected from the back, from your back, onto a
Yes.
screen that's in front of you.
Yeah, true. And it kind of defines
Yeah.
our culture. And it's always a light that comes from behind us and we don't face it. But with
Mm.
Plato was the opposite. So he turned himself, he stopped looking at the shadows, so the cinema, the story that was being projected, and he looked at the light. So he looked at the, imagine people turning in the cinema and looking at
Hmm.
the projection. And that light, since they were all that time looking at the shadows, they never faced such a hard and hurtful light, and it really hurt when you look at light, when you're in the dark and you open the light. Oh gosh, it was like that. But nevertheless, he faced the light, he walked towards the light, try and see things as they as they were, not as
So
not
the
as puzzle.
the light for Plato is the truth.
Yes, because you're not looking at a projection. You are actually facing it. You are
Yeah, but
act
you know that he was against art, right? He was against images. He thought that images
and
were
through the
not were
scope, yeah,
untruthful.
yeah, and through the scope,
So
I do understand.
so what he's saying is that for him, fiction, so any kind of projection, so any kind of art really, apart from dialogue and thinking and exchanging speech through the lens of truth,
Hmm.
other than that, nothing is really acceptable
Of course. So he was a visionary.
in terms of visual art.
Yeah. So he was a visionary of contemporary art.
Or he was like me, like I am against reality TV. He
Hmm.
was against the idea of believing that those images are true. Because
Yes.
he could have said something else. He could have said, "Oh, we're looking at the projector or the light.
Mhm.
Now we know that those things aren't true, but we're still fascinated by them.
Yeah. Exactly. I think the artist also
And we
followed.
take them for what they are."
Yeah. Even in the production of art nowadays, I think it goes through that process. It's no longer about having an idea and making a projection of that idea so that others see what I'm projecting about the projection that I see, that I want the others to see. No, it's a lot more risky, and we don't it's not always easy to know what's the outcome as well. That's when art becomes, I think, interesting for an artist. From my point of view, like, it's facing that light and not knowing exactly what's behind it, and it's still hurtful, but still, like looking at the sun, right? It's really hurtful. We know it's damaging you. Hopefully art is not art careers are not damaging us.
Let's not go that far.
Yeah. But yeah, but yes, I think I think we've contemporary artists, most of us turned towards the light and stopped having this idea of a projection. So if he was against art that's explained like that, or through that scope, I kind of agree with him. I'm also against art.
Well, it, I kind of see it from two sides, which is that in our society, when you're watching television, when you're reading, when you're watching the news, when you're reading the newspaper, when you're going to the cinema and see a documentary, in some ways, we believe that to be the truth. We know it conveys a form of truth.
Mhm.
And then you have visual arts or more experimental art that wants you to focus not only on the message, but on the materials, the speech, the aesthetic that conveys the message, so that the message is no longer a one-way street, but so that the message becomes open, ambivalent, so
Mhm.
that it makes space for the spectator. So for me, there's two kinds of, you have the show Traitors,
Mhm.
where there's a manipulation, but at the
Mhm.
same time, it's kind of real. So you don't really know what is real, what isn't. And then you have people who are making images that are conscious of the fact that we are very educated. And if we choose to remember that we know that all of this is projection, we take much more pleasure in the role we can have within those projections, which is my idea. I think he saw something really cool, and he
Yes, me
just
too.
he didn't he didn't tell the story the way he should have, which
Mhm.
is we still choose to look at the images even though we know they're just projections and shadows of ourselves.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, exactly. I agree with
I'm
all you.
thinking more
I,
about the dynamic of discovering the light and then going back to the shadows, and you're
Mhm.
more interested in the dynamic of discovering the light source.
Yes, because a process of turning your back. And today I feel it maybe more than a month ago. Like you need to turn your back. You need it's a way of resistance somehow. Like Plato at the cave, they turned the back to their reality, right? They had to turn the back of something that it was comfortable to them,
Hmm.
what they were, the projections they were looking at.
They looked behind in another direction, so they
They,
kind
yeah,
of
turn your back
they
to,
shifted
yeah,
perspectives.
shifted perspective if you want.
I
Yeah.
do. Are we getting married again? I do. I do
Well,
want to get married.
we should celebrate the 30
Yeah,
year. Yeah, somehow. Are you going to air this?
very soon. Yesterday.
Yesterday. Okay.